editing, John here. That really did not turn out like the Yu-Gi-Oh intro I wanted. This is another one of those episodes where we have a long version and then a short version. This is the shorter version that goes on the feed where we cut all the stuff that's kind of inappropriate out and mostly just us talking about bullshit. A lot of people have said they want to listen to us talk about bullshit, and if you want to, it's for free on our Patreon, patreon.com/EHDBZ. Is this in fact a transparent and cheap trick to funnel people to our Patreon in the hopes that they will pay $1 or $5 to listen to all the other cool stuff we have? Yes. Is it working? Kinda. And if you don't want to have to do that in the future, you can subscribe to the RSS feed that we set up on our Patreon, so that way you just get a notification that's on there in the first place. You ain't got to do shit. I actually don't know how RSS works. But also, we just kind of want to keep the podcast thin and lean for our feed, because we know we can just bullshit forever, and it adds a lot of fat to the podcast. Speaking of all the fat we're adding to the podcast, I'm talking too long, so here's the episode.
It's funny, we talked for like a half an hour before we started recording, and now I've got very little for the intro.
This never happens.
I'm out.
Do you want to generate one of your universal quandaries that you come up with in the shower just on the fly?
I have no idea. I was playing Elden Ring.
Nobody gives a shit about that. Shut up. Let's talk about the Pope. Or like,
well, you don't know yeah. What it was gonna like funnel into.
No, you're right. I'm just being an asshole to be an asshole. I'm sorry. What? You were playing Elden Ring. I'm very interested to hear what you have to say because I love that game.
Yeah, I think I do too, but I didn't when it first came out. I mean, it was fine. It was pretty good. And then it started winning all of these awards, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm the one that's wrong. So I started to play it again, like give it another chance, and I think I get it. A lot of it had to do with the fact that I was playing it like a Dark Souls game because I really haven't had much exposure to that universe. So I was just kind of following what my friends had told me in the past, which is just like steamroll the story. If you're faced with a boulder in your path, you just hit the boulder again and again and again until it crumbles before you. But I feel like Elden Ring is different in that like you can hit boulders, but instead of getting mad and throwing the controller across the room, which is kind of the classic Dark Souls behavior, you just turn around and go the other way. Like,
yeah,
you just fuck off in some random direction and go find something else. I started the main story and I got through the first like mega boss, and then I got to Stormvale Castle, and now I'm stuck at Stormvale Castle to the point where I was really frustrated and like Alt F4'd at least once. And then I just went another direction and started doing other stuff. And then I went as far as I could in another direction, found a smoldering church where this like person was summoned into my game and I can't beat them. And then I just went off into another direction. Like it's, I don't know. It's good. It's a good game.
It's like this generation's Ocarina of Time. Whenever you took a quest in the Ocarina of Time, it didn't tell you shit about how to complete that quest. And you didn't even know you were picking up a quest half the time. And that is part of what makes Elden Ring so... It's almost like a puzzle or something.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good word for it. The whole game feels like you're doing it instead of just going on a theme park ride. And there's nothing wrong with that either, but like that's so standard.
Right.
Like, that's what is ubiquitous in the gaming industry today. So it's a nice change of pace.
There are some games that really feel like you are just existing in this world that doesn't care whether you are there or not. That it's going to do what it's going to do. Things are going to happen regardless of whether you step in or you fail. Like Oblivion felt like that. Skyrim less, because Skyrim's like, oh, you're the chosen one.
You're the Dragonborn, yeah.
Yeah. I've been playing the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall just on a whim. It's rough. It's definitely rough. It doesn't explain shit about what you're doing. It doesn't explain shit about what the skills actually really do or how to level up or how to this, that. But because none of it is explained outright for you, you feel so much more accomplished when you really get it. You figure it out on your own. And Elden Ring is an open world game, so you have to explore and find everything on your own. And it doesn't explain shit to you, so you have to understand everything on your own. Or you just look it up in a walkthrough. Or you just go online and look it up in a walkthrough. I mean,
I'm guilty of that at some point, but even then
when you get it, it's like, oh, it's so much better than when the game outright explains a thing to you in like baby talk terms.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it, because it's like it's like a teacher being like, okay, now take one step forward and then 2 steps to the right, and then you found the treasure.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't feel like you did anything because you were just following a set of instructions.
Yeah.
It was laid out for you. You're not, the sense of discovery is kind of gone.
Yeah, and it diminishes your sense of accomplishment when you do it right.
The experience playing the game is very personal. Like, when I'm sitting there at my computer and nobody, like, I'm not getting any interference from the like social media or my friends or whatever, I'm just like, oh, this is a really unique, cool experience. I got to tell the world about this. The problem is the world has been talking about this for a year now. And everything that I'm saying has just been said over and over and over again. So bringing it up on the podcast, I feel like it's the same shit that you've heard about Elden Ring since it came out. I can only hope that me coming in later on, I'm using words and describing feelings that maybe are at least a combination that is a little bit unique, because I'm not just in this echo chamber of everybody talking about it right now. It's a lot easier to copy something if it's like right there next to you versus waiting a year. And I don't know, I think your voice would be a little bit more unique.
Man, I really want to sit here and talk to you about Elden Ring, but what you just said is a perfect parallel to what we're doing with Dragon Ball Z right now, because, oh my God, these episodes that we just watched were not the worst, actually.
Wait, really?
There were some things that, you know, broke the entire foundation of the show, but
yeah, that's definitely where I'm more at, is I feel like I get why people hate the Fusion Saga now. I feel like it might just be this middle chunk. Oh, speaking of which, we got an email.
Oh, we did?
I usually don't bring emails up in a regular episode because I like to save them for the mailbag, but this one was right after our last episode, and the subject line is why you hate Vegito versus Buhan. And this one is from a contributor that we've heard from before, Sebastian Alavarez.
Oh, are we going to have to combat someone? I'm not ready to combat someone.
No, actually,
I'm getting into podcast mode.
That's why I wanted to read this now.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
Because I feel like if we were going to fight, we could wait till a mailbag. But Sebastian says, it's funny to hear you guys rant over the nonsensical shit in the Vegito versus Buhan fight, and I know exactly why you hate it. Most of that filler BS, like buff Vegito, is not Toriyama. This fight in the manga is 5 chapters and the anime heavily extends it. This might be something we could talk more about in the mailbag. This is my request now. When you finish the anime, read the DBZ manga on your own time and compare it to the anime and the podcast.
You know, I was thinking about this on the toilet earlier today because I knew we were going to record. And so I was just thinking about podcast and how much more I like Dragon Ball Super than this.
Really?
Except there's a part at the end of Super, the last arc of Super that currently exists, where the anime caught up to where Toriyama was writing.
Oh, so the anime had to like invent stuff, or did Toriyama write for the anime and then refine it for the manga?
Toriyama gave the spoilers for what his plans were, because everybody knows how Toriyama's plans go. The anime did its best to kind of create a big end of show filler thing. If we ever get there, you'll understand. Because there are some episodes in that arc that are just not good. They feel like a waste almost, versus a lot of the rest of Super doesn't feel like that. And it's just something that must happen in these shows where they're pulling directly from something that's coming out at the time. Because it happened in DBZ right now. That's what we're talking about. Happened in Super. It happened to Game of fucking Thrones. Where they just had to invent their own shit. And then so I'm like, that'll be a fun little thing that we get to in Super. But now I'm wondering how you avoid that, which I guess the answer is wait until the shit's done. Just go on hiatus until the shit is done.
I really wonder if there is one anime out there with a filler arc that is like better than the main line, because they just had the correct adaptation writer, animator, whatever at the right time, where somehow the filler arc is better than the manga by accident.
I bet there is. Hey, fans, let us know. Mail at ehdbc.com or 385-DARE1OX. Text us, leave us a voicemail. Let us know what anime has a better filler arc than the main story. That would be a lot of fun to hear about, because I'm sure it exists. I'm sure
there's not a lot of like infighting for those particular anime.
Oh, definitely not. Anime fans are not like passionate or they never get serious about the stuff that they're into, right? So
yeah, it's just a fun entertainment thing for all of us.
Very calm people, weebs. All right. This is the part where I have to do it last time, huh?
I was kind of waiting for it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do it last time, but first we have to do a big boy shout out. This is the part of the episode of this podcast called Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z, where we like to take the time to thank the top tier of our Patreon. Not the toppest, but we've been over this. If you've heard previous episodes, I'm not going to explain it again. So thank you very much to... Oh, my voice is breaking. You do this.
I thought you were doing it on purpose.
No.
Thank you very much to MJ Snyder, The Fish, Tyler, Hyatt, and of course, Spencer Fewerstein. If you want to check out the tiers that we have created for your enjoyment, I guess, check it out at patreon.com/
Was that intentional?
It wasn't. My voice got stuck. Patreon.com/ EHDBZ.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun.
Last time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z, we went over the Vegito shit, and it was, in fact, indeed, that. And then Boo absorbed Vegito, and now he's two people, but fuck it. This time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
Oh boy. Welcome to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. I'm Spencer.
I'm John.
And today we're going to be going over episodes 274 through 278 of Dragon Ball Z, starting with episode 274. The Japanese title is Nightmares or Illusions, Goku and Gohan's father-son confrontation. Okay, that makes sense. The American title is Mind Trap.
My episode title is, it says just read one of your notes. So, okay, I'm just going to pick a random note.
You've instructed yourself to read one of your notes. Okay.
Goku and Vegeta start going down the piss tube, and then remember they can fly, so they do. Right, this is that episode.
This episode is terrible. It does not progress the story, and it elongates an arc that is fairly pointless in the overall pantheon of Dragon Ball Z content.
Agree entirely with that, but I do like the idea that they had at the end of the episode. Every one of these episodes has a big "they tried" badge on it.
Yeah, there's a cool idea in just about all of these. Yep. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. So, okay. Where did we leave off? Goku is going to be eaten by a tremor worm because he's covered in weird green slime that communicates telepathically to the worm while they're shrunken and tiny inside the body of Majin Buu. What a fucking sentence.
Yeah. And surprise, Goku just kills the worm. Another surprise.
Yeah.
Is the worm is part of a family.
Holy shit.
Goku killed the brother of another worm, and they can talk and speak English. They're not just parasites or organisms. But then Worm Dad shows up and berates the worm children for bothering the adults, Vegeta and Goku, and makes them apologize to Vegeta and Goku for fulfilling their host's functions. Like biologically,
I can almost hear the confusion in some of the audience's brains. All of the things that Spencer just said is what happens. That's just what happens in the episode. There's just this worm that was going to kill Goku. Suddenly his brother shows up after Goku beats the shit out of him and has a silly voice and starts saying, "Oh, you beat up my brother." And then the dad, "I'm going to tell my dad." And then the dad, all of this happens. All of that really just happens.
And then the dad worm, like Goku appeals to the dad worm as a father looking for his son.
Yeah.
Because Goku's trying to find, Gohan and Goten. They're allegedly somewhere in the body for some reason. And so because this worm knows all about the body that they're in, the dad worm points them in the right direction. Meanwhile, in the real world, Boo has indigestion and uses his candy beam to turn a rock into a porta potty and uses the bathroom.
He farts. He takes a shit. He takes a big shit in the bathroom.
And Hercule and Dende are watching this, and Dende calls it an evacuation station.
And then,
which must be the official name of the bathroom on Kami Tower, because that's what he calls it.
The evacuation station on Kami Tower is the side of the lookout. You don't have to care. You're God. You're the protector of the planet. It's a blessing when poop comes and hits you in the
if rain is God's tears, what is God's crap.
Yeah, that's so anyway, this is how we're starting this episode. And there's just no way not to. Like, this was such a hard dunk into absurdity that colored all of the other episodes for me to where I didn't really give a shit.
It's really hard
anymore.
Yeah, I definitely didn't care, which I felt like almost remorseful for. Like, I miss caring about this show. And there are tiny little pockets of that evident throughout these episodes where you actually do care a little bit. But for the most part, it kind of just sucks. Maybe that is due to it being a filler arc.
I don't know.
The enjoyment of last episode that we had where it was just like, yeah, this is stupid, but at least they're coming up with crazy batshit insane ideas that are kind of fun to watch. For me, these episodes were that minus the fun batshit insane ideas.
This set of episodes just kind of confirmed, like, yeah, our set of expectations that were founded and built upon what the show was giving us.
Thank you. Yeah.
To be fair to us, isn't what the show is, and it's never what the show will be.
Well, I don't know. Do you think Super is more like this or more what we have internally as our idea of what Dragon Ball Z should be?
It's that plus Toriyama's a little bit older and has a better understanding of how to carry the feelings he's trying to convey normally, like a normal TV show without giving us absurdism whiplash.
Okay.
Like, he got all that out in the 10 years between Z and Super. It's very obvious that Toriyama at this point was just kind of done with Z, and he just wanted to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do.
Which I don't even know what he did next. Was there anything that he did after Dragon Ball Z that was like a Dr. Slump equivalent?
Yeah, take a swim in a big pile of money. I don't know.
I mean, work anyway.
Oh, work-wise. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked it up. I really, if I was him, I'd just take a break for a while, because that's true. Enjoy the success of this thing you made. But he is a creator. It's obvious he is a very imaginative, unique voice creator. So
for sure,
maybe he pulled a George Lucas and was like, well, I'm working on my own independent films, and really just like sat and watched TV all day. Who knows? We could just look it up. It's just that easy. We have this amazing thing called Google, but it's way more fun to belligerently vomit.
To just
opinions.
Speculate.
Yeah, based on nothing. Yeah.
Based on nothing.
Okay. Anyway, so just want to round up these episodes are utter dog shit, but I was on board because I got to pick out the one thing that I was like, oh, that's cool.
Goku and Vegeta eventually make their way to Boo's head, where they split up and start wandering around the inside of Boo's mind.
Yeah.
Goku encounters Gohan. Vegeta encounters Trunks and Goten. Not the characters that we know, though. They're acting weird. They don't really talk. And Goten and Trunks fuse into an SSJ3 Ghost Gotenks. And then Gohan and Goku and Gotenks and Vegeta start fighting each other. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, on the Kai planet, the Kais just kind of give commentary. It's weird because they can't see inside Boo. So they don't see Vegeta and Goku and everything going on. They just sort of see Boo dealing with indigestion and like standing on a cliff for a while.
No, they see inside Boo sometimes until they can't anymore, and then they can, but then they can't.
That's what I thought I remembered, but there's a scene in like the third-ish episode of this run where they specifically say, why can't we see inside? We want to see inside. We want to see what's going on. So I just assumed that that's what was going on before. But
well, your assumption would be based off of this very silly idea you have that this show is consistent at all. I don't know where that came from. But no, you're right. At some point, they just can't look in anymore. And it's probably because in that episode, for reasons we'll get into later. But anyway, so they're fighting each other in Boo's head, and it's determined by Elder Kai. This is how I know they can see inside Boo at this time.
Oh, you're right.
Elder Kai determines, these are the mental projections of Boo's idea of these fighters. These are Boo's thoughts. These are the thoughts going on inside of Boo's head.
Which doesn't make any damn sense because they're physically inside the mind of Boo. And if you were to shrink down and go inside my brain right now, all you'd see is brain matter and like neurons firing and little electricity bolts. You wouldn't see like my version of Goku.
But you're not an evil space alien made from magic, though.
That is something that I lament every day of my life.
Wake up. Damn it. Wake up. Damn it. I don't know. Yeah, this is the idea, the cool idea that they had. And the cool idea is, what if we made our heroes fight more of our heroes with no real stakes, I guess. Like it shouldn't matter.
That's the problem for me, because it doesn't feel like it matters at all. But it's an interesting idea. It's not that interesting. Instead of Boo absorbing the heroes, he should have been like mind controlling them. And so you slowly get an army of Z fighters because this is, I don't care. I don't fucking care if Goku fights a thought projection of Gohan.
Yeah, after it's explained of what it is exactly, it's way less cool. But the mystery for just a moment was interesting. The mystery of, why is he fighting Gohan? Like, what, does he have to knock Gohan out to bring him out? Like, there was some interesting mystery for about 12 seconds. And so that's what I just want to point at and say, hey, that could have been cool. So participation ribbon episode 274, you tried. You'll collect a lot more by the end of this.
Oh, yeah.
How does this resolve again? Oh, that's right. So here's how this resolves. Majin Buu gets hungry at this point and goes to find food. He locates a cake shop and finds cake and starts drooling over how delicious the cakes look like. So then his thought projections turn into cake. And that's how that fight stops. I guess it makes sense in what kind of spaghetti logic they're using.
Yeah, like I can't.
I can tell you hated these episodes way more than I did.
Oh my God.
Feel free to destroy them. I will try and be the not so negative one this time, because I really, it's fine at this point. I'm like, it's water off a duck's back, these 5 episodes. I don't know why this today, but like I recognize how bad, but
it took something from me to watch these. Like, like it's so utterly pointless and stupid. Like, because the heroes aren't doing anything. They're not going on a journey. They're not learning something about themselves. They're not growing or learning about the villain even. They literally just walk around, encounter an obstacle, go to fight that obstacle, and then that obstacle, through no control or effort on their part, turns into fucking cake. And then they're done. And they don't escape. They have to stay inside. Like, you could cut this out. This entire episode, delete it. And I don't think you would even notice that it was missing. That's the problem that I have with this one in particular. Literally nothing changes, and there's no sense of the journey. Like, I hate the inside Boo stuff because it makes no damn sense. But even if I were to accept it, there's no sense of a journey even within Boo. They don't start at his feet and they're like, oh man, we have to battle our way through internal organs and shit and explore what makes this character so versatile and formidable as we make their way to the brain. They're just inside and you don't know where. Like, you can kind of guess, but you would be wrong every time because nothing makes sense. And so they go to like their stomach, to the brain, to the head some more. Like, I don't know if they ever leave his brain, but it looks exactly like his stomach and like nothing. You don't need this. It doesn't. It's so filler that it's too filler. It's too filler for me.
I totally agree with you, and I see your reasoning is coming from the every scene should move the plot forward kind of reasoning, or at the very least,
because that's the basic concept of storytelling. You either explore a character or move the plot forward.
Right.
Like,
yes, it's one of those two things. But I can see where the mindset of the show is, which is
we have to stall for time.
Entertainment is entertainment, regardless of if it's moving the plot forward or developing characters.
I would almost agree with it if it were in the right place in the timeline.
Yeah.
Like, again, you're coming to the end of the series here.
Yes.
And you've stacked this powerful enemy getting more powerful and more powerful, destroying civilizations and cities and shit. And then you just kind of stomp on the brakes for a reason that doesn't make sense.
This would be way cooler at different times, or if they had kept everything in line with any sort of sense making, like any sort of logic. Nothing that happens inside of Boo makes any fucking sense at all.
I think there's a vehicle here, because you're right. There's some, I guess, mildly interesting things. If you're going to do an inner space parody,
that's what this is.
At the very least, like have a character, one of the Kais or something, be able to put a spell or like Mantis in the Avengers, like knock Boo unconscious. He's still a threat, but he's asleep for now. And we got to go inside him to either figure out how he works or rescue the absorbed heroes because they might still be alive. or whatever, and Goku and Vegeta go on this fun inner space adventure. But because he's still conscious and alive and unstoppable at this point on Earth, I don't know why he's bothering with these like mind tricks and stuff. Like Goku and Vegeta aren't actively doing anything to stop Buu from just destroying the planet or whatever his goal is at this point. Like there's no, I don't know. It doesn't feel like the villain should be stopping what he's doing. Like there's no reason for that. And there's also no reason for Goku and Vegeta. Like there's no motivation. There's no clear goal.
Yeah, the transparency to Toriyama choosing what to write, or the writers choosing what, because I don't know if this is filler, but it feels like it. But to the transparency of just like, let's just have fun and kill time has never been clearer.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It's almost like I can watch them make the fucking show instead of watching the show.
And there's a time and a place for that. And it just feels like a very bad time to be putting something like this
at this point. For me, they ruined all of the stakes and the give a shit that I had over the last 10 episodes. So at this point, I'm down for just some whatever the fuck Dragon Ball shit you want to throw at me. That's where I'm at with it. So I'm
speaking of that, we're moving right along to episode 275.
Yeah. Oh, they find all of their friends wrapped up in weird cocoons at the end of the episode.
The only thing is they do come across, once they defeat their mind enemies, they come across this weird section of Buu where Goten, Trunks, Piccolo, and Gohan are encased in these like pink goo balls.
Yeah, it looks like a cocoon from the movie Aliens, attached at the top and bottom, like suspended with goo.
Yeah, presumably that's how he absorbs. There's so many flaws with even this that I didn't realize were flaws until the last episode of this series. So I will rant about this later.
Oh, you're going to hold on? Okay, all right. This is fine.
I'm not going to. There's no point in doing it now. There's no point in doing it now because we're not there yet. We don't have all the pieces of the puzzle.
I feel like you're evolving. I think you're moving into Super Spencer here.
I'm happy that you enjoyed them because I need...
Let me be clear. I didn't enjoy them, but I didn't have to endure them.
So episode 275, Dragon Ball Z, the Japanese title is Majin's Secret. 2 more Boos inside of Buu. The American title is Deadly Vision.
My episode title is Boo inside of Boo fighting near Boo gets a boo from this Boo. Weird errors, by the way, that I need to make mention of. I didn't say it in the previous episode. I should. There's an animation mistake where Vegeta is fighting Gotenks and Piccolo at the same time, and he's not Super Saiyan in one frame.
Oh, I'm glad that, I wrote that down too. I just got so caught up in what we were talking about that I forgot to mention it.
And then
I noticed that.
In the beginning of this episode, Vegeta talks about the fusion technique, but he shouldn't know what the fuck that is, really. Even watching Gotenks do it, he wouldn't know what that is, but this show doesn't give a fuck. So he talks about it.
I know it doesn't make complete sense, but I hate that Goten and Trunks are separated in the goo balls because when they were absorbed, they were Gotenks.
Right.
Like, I don't know how you would fix that logically, but it didn't make any sense to me that they would.
There should be 2 in one goo ball. 2 people. Yeah,
there you go.
See, that's all it takes. You just need one other motherfucker to talk about this stuff with, Toriyama. Just one other person. So, all right, Boo's still going around eating candy.
Yeah, he's just a rampage for cake. He's followed by Hercule and Dende. They're in hot pursuit. He says 25 cake shops down the hatch. So he's gone to 25 fucking bakeries to fill his eternity stomach.
Goku and Vegeta cut the egg cases of Piccolo, Gohan, Goten, and Trunks. God, that was really hard.
And when they cut the paws loose from the top and bottom because that's where they're attached. And when he does, Buu goes through his de-evolution. He reverts forms. He goes back to his like Piccolo form with the cape and the shoulder pads and stuff, which I thought was interesting. It doesn't make any sense to me that absorption is miniaturizing the target and storing them within a goo ball that is accessible. Like fusion, absorption, whenever it's mentioned in the show up until this point, the original entities are destroyed, essentially.
And that's the thing. They did this with Cell. When Cell got punched, Perfect Cell got punched, and he threw up whatever android. But
you're not wrong.
At least Cell grew bigger in that moment to throw up Android 18. I don't know. There was something a little more there than we have here. This one just...
You're not wrong. The show actually does have a precedent for keeping the characters intact in some form,
but then,
within the body of, because who knows, if you went into Cell in a fun inner space adventure, you might find them in goo balls.
Yeah, you never know.
Intact.
But then also, so there, I just now realizing this mistake. So in this episode, Vegeta says, it must be anybody that Boo turns into chocolate must be stuck here. And then
wait, does he actually say that? He
does. He literally says that, which I'm going to take that as actual rules of the show, but it doesn't make any fucking sense because literally in 2 episodes later, Yamcha says, I don't want to be turned into chocolate again. And it's been established that he turned all of the people on the lookout to chocolate and they died. So why didn't they get stuck?
As far as I know, it's been fairly consistent that anybody that turns into candy actually dies.
Right.
Except for Vegito. And then everybody that gets goo absorbed is intact within the body of Boo, I guess.
Problem with all of this is inconsistent and very often conflicting with itself logic. That's just it. And you can't do that. And also
especially when you're this far down the sci-fi road.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like you gotta have the rules.
Yeah, that's how it all works. Once you have consistency to your rules, you can build upon a story. But once you start fucking them all up, it's just like it's this. You get this. And it's like I said, I've never seen these before. And so I'm really enjoying them for the first time. Enjoying is a strong word. But, and I hate that it's bad. I want it to be better because there are some really fun things. Like when old Kai and Kaibito touch faces because they're so overjoyed they found them inside of Boo.
Yeah.
There's just a moment where they're so excited that they get really close to each other's faces. Then they go, and they move away. And there's just like little flecks of fun. There's little bits of gold dust in this Goldschlager, but man, it tastes like shit. So Goku tries to convince Vegeta to do the fusion dance. And this is where Vegeta says, oh, well, I saw them do that in other worlds, so I know all about the fusion technique. And I'm like, you weren't. No.
You don't know.
You don't, because you were not, you didn't have a body. You were nothing at that time.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point. The problem is, I don't know why the writing is so bad, but in the writing, fusion is over. They don't want to fuck with it again. But it's been established that fusion is the only way to defeat Boo. There is a little bit of leeway that they don't even mention in the show. Vegeta's gets the fusion dance, and later Goku and Vegeta are both against Potara fusion again. But at this point, Boo is depowered down to before he even absorbed Piccolo, where Gotenks had a chance to kill him.
Where Gohan had a chance to kill him, yeah.
And Gohan, yeah. So, like, why? Why do they even consider fusion at this point? Get out of Boo, or just start killing him from the inside. Like, he is beyond defeatable at this point. What about, like, Mystic Gohan? And
they're asleep. They're asleep in the eggs. Shh. It's fine. Well, we don't know if they're alive. No,
like, didn't Majin Vegeta have a chance?
Too much thinking. Too much remembering what happened in the past. This is why the previous Leon exists. Did they go over it in the previous Leon? No, then it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Vegeta somehow senses, like, Fat Boo somewhere here.
Somehow.
So they find him.
Yeah, they find Fat Boo
and
also
he's
in
also
an egg.
in a pod. Uh-huh. He's also in a goo pod. And this is where I start to get frustrated.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I hadn't even started before. Didn't Fat Boo get turned into chocolate?
Yeah. You know how I know? Because we have to watch it because they read Boo's mind. They say, why don't we read Boo's mind? And I went, oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing that they can just choose to do when it's appropriate.
So yeah, what the fuck? What? Boo gets turned into chocolate. Everybody else that got turned into chocolate died. Boo gets turned into chocolate. He goes into a pink pod. Everybody else that's in a pink pod was absorbed by Boo's goo. So nothing makes sense and the universe is broken. They don't even try to address it. It's just they wanted it to happen for the sake of the plot. Somebody else could have been in that goo pod and they could have been like, whoa, that looks like Majin Buu. But they didn't do that, and it would have made everything make more sense. But we'll get to that in a couple episodes.
Another participation ribbon will be given in a couple episodes. So, all right. And then after Goku reads Majin Buu's fucking mind and gets a flashback to the exact moment that his mind reading powers want him to see that is relevant to his decision making in this moment, and not just a bunch of thoughts of candy or how much he wishes he was a hot guy so he could attract girls. Remember that happened in one episode? Do you remember that? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Super Boo on the outside starts meditating and then forms himself in his own body to deal with the why didn't this happen before? I don't know. But so
he knew it wasn't just indigestion. He knew it was Vegeta and Goku inside of his own body.
Yeah, is this the marker for him to realize that they're not digested yet, and not that he didn't put on their clothes, not that he's not wearing new underwear? This was the marker, is when he reverted to Super Boo. And then Super Boo now talks like the evolved Boo, just gruffer, still says full sentences and like postures and stuff, but
personality wise he's just
Cell but talks like this. And so so they face off against Super Boo inside of Boo's own brain, and Goku says, "We're gonna escape and regain our size." How the fuck do you know that? How do you know? You don't know. This is unprecedented. Nobody's done this before. You didn't even know why you unfused. You can't. This doesn't make any sense. You don't know. The writing is atrocious. You know what? I'm going to say it's mostly the English writing, because the Japanese doesn't say nearly as much, and it doesn't ruin these lines nearly as much as the English writing does. I've been paying attention to the things they're saying in English, and sometimes they do that DNA helix thing where they cross over into what the Japanese is saying, but the Japanese original writing says 20% of what the English does. And I think it's because they had to fill time, because otherwise the kids would fall asleep into their cereal and die, and they'd be responsible. So they had to fill all of this time with just shit to say. And that's half of the downfall of all of this. The other half, well, okay, it's like a quarter of the downfall, because really most of it is nothing makes any goddamn sense at all.
Like 70-30.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So like Goku and Vegeta want to escape to regain their size, but they feel like Boo is in their way, which is weird to me, because literally they could go any direction at all and get out.
But then how do they not realize the more we talk about this, the angrier I become? It's like
join me.
The longer the icon of sin is on the planet of Earth, the stronger he will become. Something like that. That's what this is. The longer we are within the body of Boo, the angrier I get.
Yeah.
So I just had a wave of rage so much that I forgot why I was angry in the first place. That tells me bad things. Why don't they understand they're inside Majin Buu? Like,
it feels like they don't.
It feels like this is an alternative dimension that they're trying to say they're in it. And if it was explained like that, then cool, but it's not, because Buu pokes his stomach and he's like, I have indigestion. So they're physically there when they do stuff, but they don't know that somehow.
Just like Kamehameha your way through his fleshy goo and then get out, because you've torn him apart like thousands of times and it's been fine.
And it's shown in this episode right here when Buu shows up to fight them inside of his own self that Goku can no longer blast out for some reason. He tries to blast out and it doesn't break through. So maybe they can't now, because
I don't. You're right. That does happen.
But
I don't understand.
There's no consistency, and so all right. So they fight a little bit, and here's where I give another participation ribbon. The fights inside of Boo's body are really well animated. The art is really good, and I don't know why, but participation ribbon for that. Good job.
All right.
Hercule asks how to sense ki, because Dende and Hercule are just following.
That was kind of a nice scene. That finally gave purpose.
Yeah, there's a little bit
to these two being paired up.
Yes.
I wish that there had been more of that.
But there's not. There's a lot more nonsense. So we go back to it. Oh, God. Fuck. Shit. Damn it. God Christ. So Vegeta goes to attack Buu, and Buu dodges, and Vegeta knocks his head right into Goku's head. And that they have this extraordinarily cartoony moment, which set the entire tone for the rest of this episode for me and the following episode, which if you didn't think this was a goddamn Looney Tunes cartoon before with the worms, this just confirms that that's all this is. And okay, just ruin any sense of weight or impact that your show has right in front of the audience and piss in our mouths. That's fine. That's fine. Yes, I'm keeping that in the episode. I don't give a shit. You can cut it out in the final post if you want, but I'm putting it in because this is not good. It is not good. So, all right. Another participation ribbon when Goku and Vegeta actually, they get pissed up and they get together and they shoot a blast, like a combined, we're out of options, so we got to actually work together blast. And it's really cool because it's the two primary characters of the show working together. Finally, participation ribbon.
It destroys, I hate this part. They destroy the Boo inside of Boo, right? And then, inexplicably, once the Dream Boo has been exploded, they go around and zap the little particles of Boo so that he can't reform.
They spend time doing that.
They're literally standing inside of Boo, and they're trying to keep him from it's all him. There's no point. Just go.
They don't. These episodes fucking suck. Like, they just fucking suck. They're so stupid. It's like going into a McDonald's, buying a Big Mac, taking it to your table, burning the Big Mac and saying, I've done it. I've killed McDonald's. That's what it is.
Wow. I did not think that analogy was going to go somewhere, but that is exactly what it is.
Yes. Sometimes I can get there. Like, that's what this is. That's all it is. And it's so stupid.
Yeah. There is more to this fight as Boo like reforms from his own innards, and some of the visuals are kind of neat. They play with like color and stretching and things like that, but it's based on a foundation of just, you've thrown all the logic of your universe out the window, and it didn't work for me at all.
Yeah, there's lots of reused shots I noticed in this episode in particular. I don't know why.
Apparently, I even made a note. Oh, there's a shot of Goku blasting Boo or something. The blast is so powerful that he slides backward.
Yeah.
But it looks so bad. Like he's not, they took a little stick figure of Goku and just like drug it across the screen. Like there was no animation at all. It looked very bad.
They're getting really sloppy with where the English is going, because there's a scene where Goku talks full sentence, but his mouth doesn't move whatsoever. And the shot is right on him. Like, they usually cut to Vegeta to let Goku talk, because that way they don't have to fuck with mouth flaps. This one is just Goku, teeth gritted, shooting a blast, saying, "Oh, I really hope this takes care of the problem," with his teeth like gritted.
Yeah.
But he doesn't say it that way. He just, "I really hope," with a big mouth. Ah, fuck it. So anyway, Goku shoots another blast and Vegeta says, "You did it. You got him." And Vegeta gets knocked over, and it starts to seem like he's going to get absorbed, and he gets totally covered in this like evil looking boo goo stuff, which is important because they retcon the fuck out of that in the beginning of the next episode.
Yeah. Oh, are you leaving?
Yeah, I got distracted for a second. I gotta go get a drink of water, though. I'm gonna pass out.
No problem.
Do a mid-roll shutout while I'm not here, like I usually do.
All right, fine. All right, guys. This is it. It's just you and me, and John is not here. And that means I get to do the mid-roll shout-out. This is the time of the podcast where we congratulate our fans that have donated to a certain tier that I can't remember the number of, for donating to our podcast and making this thing possible on our long-running dream to make a living talking about anime. If you want to check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/EHDBZ, we have a few tiers to donate to, some bonus content. We're always working on more, and you can get your name read aloud at the beginning of every episode, the middle of every episode, or the end of every episode. So let's do it. Those wonderful patrons are, in no particular order, MJ Snyder, The Fish, Tyler Hyatt, Oh Noe Zoe, Andrew Winden, Erwin, Dan, Eric White, and Josh West. Thank you all so much sincerely for contributing to our podcast. We don't know why you do it, but we sincerely appreciate it and hope that you continue to do so. If you want to check out our Discord community, feel free to do so. Discord.io/ I know you can hear me typing. Discord.io/Eric Hates DBZ. A lot of cool chatter in there. Talk about Dragon Ball Z, talk about the podcast, talk about anime, talk about nerd stuff in general. It's a lot of fun. It does not suck. And we're always looking to expand the community, so feel free to check that out. Jonathan Wrigley Good.
Hey.
Hey.
Who told you that name? I haven't heard that name since Korea.
Since you saw it on a stick of gum at the checkout line?
It's come to this, huh?
It's come to this. That's how I feel about episode 276 of Dragon Ball Z.
Wow.
The Japanese title is Where's the Exit? Escape from a Collapsing Boo. The American title is Evil Kid Boo.
My episode title is 30 minutes ago you were watching the Powerpuff Girls. I don't look, it came on Cartoon Network and I remember the order in which shows came on. And I remember Dragon Ball Z a lot of the time. It was Toonami, so it was like
right after
bam,
Powerpuff
we're
Girls.
gonna put our big show up front, baby. We know this is huge. And so 30 minutes ago, you're watching Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup going to save the city of Townsville. And for some reason, it almost just works perfect.
It is
with
a
how
good pairing.
fucking cartoony this episode and all the other episodes are. It's like you're just watching the same fucking show. You're just watching Powerpuff Girls again. It's just less entertaining and fun.
Goku saves Vegeta from being absorbed because they rewound time before Vegeta was totally covered by goo.
God damn it. My note here is additional participation ribbon for, again, really good, undeservedly good animation. Goku is having a fight against Boo for a moment, and Boo comes out of the wall, and it's really creepily animated. Goku really quickly fires this blast, and it's like great. It's movie quality good right then and there for just that moment.
Is that the part where he grabs him with the head antenna?
Yeah.
Is it the same? Okay.
It's that same sequence where it's just one continuous shot for a while. It's like, wow, this is really pretty. Like, this is really well animated. Anyway, Goku can't defeat Boo and ends up doing the million blasts thing because he's totally out of ideas. And some of the blasts start going towards Fat Boo stuck in the egg.
Well, I feel like
in the distance.
When I was watching this, well, first of all, the Kais, this is where the Kais say, we can't see inside a Boo, which is a fucking lie.
I don't.
And Goku blasts, but he misses Boo. And I feel like, at least the way that I saw it, it was on purpose.
That's the thing. I don't know.
Goku was distracting Boo with this barrage of blasts that miss so that he could cut the Boo pod down and, in quotes, depower Boo. And make him less of a threat.
If that's what it is not clear. It's like interpretive. It has to be interpretive in that moment because the dialogue back and forth in both English and Japanese, Goku's like, I still have enough power to defeat you. And Boo's like, I'm noticing your lack of power to be able to defeat me because Super Boo is just Cell again. That's when Goku shoots the millions of blasts and Boo says, what are you doing? Your aim is awful. Are you just trying to hit my insides? And Goku's like, if that's what it takes, that's what I'll do. So I don't know if Goku thought about it, but it cuts to Vegeta noticing how upset Super Boo gets when the blasts get close to Fat Boo stuck inside of Super Boo's egg. God, I'm sick of saying the name Boo.
So Vegeta sneaks up while they're having this fight, Goku and Boo, and Vegeta holds the pod ransom.
He does.
Essentially. This is my participation medal. The kernel of this idea is really, really good. And I feel like they wasted the opportunity because when Vegeta's threatening to cut Fat Boo down from the pod and like untransform Boo, like depower Boo, the Boo that is fighting gets pissed off and says like, you can't do that because then I won't be me anymore. And he's like really obsessed with this idea of losing his identity. That's great. That's a really good idea. The fact that all of these Boos were like individual people and like Doctor Who, like they regenerate and they form their own independent identity. And this particular Boo doesn't want to lose that. Like that's really interesting, but it's just said and done.
Yeah.
It's not dwelled on. It's not fleshed out at all. And Vegeta ends up removing the Fat Boo pod. The Boo that was fighting just starts screaming.
Super Boo is screaming and steaming, and Hercule and Dende see that occurring. They're like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Vegeta, Goku grab all the other gang members and try to fly out, and they have this little, you just killed Andros S escape from the inside of
Yeah, the inside of Boo gets really hot for some reason which is also kind of a kernel of an interesting idea, like, which they didn't fucking do anything with last time. They were cutting down pods and he was transforming.
Yep.
He's transforming now because Fat Boo has been disconnected. We don't know really what's going on, but the inside of Boo gets really hot and his body starts changing. And Vegeta and Goku are having a hard time finding their way around because the makeup of the environment they're in is just changing constantly. And it's super hot and like dangerous. And that's really interesting, but they just used it here for, I don't know. It seems pointless here at this point. And they didn't do it before when he was transforming.
Yeah, another participation ribbon for ideas.
It's fine.
There's a blast of steam that is blasting out of Boo, and Goku and Vegeta see this blast of steam and they're like, oh, that's our way out. And they have this unnecessarily long scene.
Oh my God.
Where they can't get out, the closing of the hole, and then they have to wait.
I don't understand this at all.
Yeah.
They're right at the top of Boo's head, we find out. And Boo has holes on top of his head. Whenever he gets mad, a burst of steam comes out of those holes, like a tea kettle. They're inside of Boo, so they're right next to the steam geyser. And when the steam geyser shoots up, the hole opens up and it gives them a way out. They can see daylight on the other side. All they have to do is wait for the next burst of steam and that the hole will open up and then they can fly out. But instead, Goku's like, I have an idea. And they wait for the steam cloud to burst up. And then Goku, instead of just like flying out the hole when it opens, and it does open because Vegeta's like, it's open. He blasts it with the Kamehameha wave, and then they fly out. Like, I don't understand. I don't get why.
I don't understand it either. And I also don't understand why, when they're trying to escape and they can't find a way out, Goku doesn't just instant.
Why the fuck did they instant? That's a really good point that I didn't think of. Why didn't they instant transmission from the beginning?
I don't know. When
they were like, we're getting out of here. Instant transmission.
Just use the thing that lets you instantaneously see that's
because they actually use it here. I think I forgot to say it, but like at this point when they grab the pods and they're running out and everything's heating up all around them, Goku actually says like, grab the pods and I'll do instant transmission. Yeah. No, that's not this point. Delete that. That's later. That's another episode. Later,
but still,
never mind.
Why don't they do that? Why don't they? I don't care. We talked about this when instant transmission first became a thing, is that there's a problem when you introduce a power that is that strong.
Yeah, well, the problem extends like not only with the super move, but the super forms. Like you have to give reason why Goku and Vegeta aren't fusing now. Yeah, that they have a defeat the enemy card they can play at any time. You have to come up with reasons to not use it, and it's stupid.
So, okay, as soon as they make it outside of Boo, because they make it outside of the hole, they all just pop back into being regular size.
I hated that for so many reasons.
Yeah.
Goku, in the English dub at least, says like, oh, it's people popcorn, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, Vegeta says, what is he on?
Yeah, Piccolo, Goten, Trunks, Gohan, they all pop up in their regular forms. The pods aren't a thing anymore. No, they were, but now they're not. As soon as they go to their size, they're just regular and fine.
Size. So, all right. And then Goku and Vegeta are witnessing as Super Boo. They say, is he growing more powerful? How is that possible? We took all of his power out because DBZ and power scaling is just a Mad Libs game.
Like this more than any, it's egregious. It's horrible. Oh my God.
And the next episode tries to explain why.
That's the participation medal, but it don't work.
That's another big participation ribbon. And you know what? It's even a pretty participation ribbon in the next episode.
I almost like the episode, man.
It
was so close to being good.
But it comes so fucking late, and you can tell that it's a Toriyama. We're just talking about the next episode. So this one ends with Boo becoming his final form.
So he gets like super bulky for a second, like Vegito did when he had Boo inside of him, like really just gross, muscly and huge.
Yep.
And then there's not really a transition or a beam of light or
no
like
fanfare
an explosion or anything. It's really strange. Like I almost didn't see it.
Yeah.
You know? But they just all of a sudden cut to Boo and he's transformed. He's shorter, he's not as bulky, he's got a shorter head antenna. It's almost kind of hard to see, but this is Kid Boo.
They call it Kid Boo, and it's just because it's a short Krillin-esque tallness.
Yeah, he's about the size of Krillin.
Thin. He looks kind of like a demon. Honestly, he looks demon-esque. And it's my favorite version of Boo. I like Super
It's a good
Boo,
version of the villain.
but this one is my favorite one because it's basically what Boo should have fucking been all along, and we're finally here.
But it was, John.
Well, Toriyama didn't know that until he wrote it down
Until he wrote
episode. So we cut to the planet of the Kais, where old Kai's all excited, like, yes, he's so weak now. We're going to do it. And then Kaibito is afraid. Why is Kaibito afraid? We'll find out on the next episode.
The narrator, he calls the character Kabito Kai
or something,
which is the worst combination. Like, Kaibito is actually kind of clever, not to toot our own horns, but like it integrates the fact that they're fused. And he just calls it Kabito Kai
because they were giving
just
up.
Really bad.
Because the English at this time, the English writers knew how bad the show was, and they just gave up.
Anyway, that brings us to episode 277. The Japanese title is Earth Disappears, Boo's Reverse Transformation of Evil. And the American title is End of Earth.
My episode title is Somewhere in Hell, Cell Chuckles.
This episode opens with a shot of Kid Boo surrounded by butterflies for some reason. Goku and Vegeta go off to stash the kids that are still unconscious but pod free. Vegeta says pod life is no life at all. And it's not like they were even trying to fill in a Japanese mouth movement with English dialogue. It literally is nobody's talking and he just says that. What a weird ass line. Whoever wrote these episodes, I don't know, man. It's a weird.
Seriously, I think they were giving up at this point. They were just doing whatever they wanted and they were filling time. It's bad.
It's bad. One thing I do like, and I'll give this episode points where I can, when Goku's laying down Goten, there's like a gentle English voiceover. It's like, there you go. Like Goku's really tender with his youngest son, which I think is really
versus
nice.
Vegeta just threw Trunks to the ground.
Yeah.
He just tosses him down, which was very funny to me.
We go back to the planet of the Kais where Kaibito explains what the hell he means when he says that Boo has gone back to his, quote, original form. This should have happened during the Majin Babidi saga. 100% this should have happened way, way, way long time ago, where Supreme Kai tells his story of what it was like to face Majin Buu all those years ago.
But the problem is they didn't know this was a thing until Toriyama realized it should be a thing at this time in the show.
Yeah.
This is so fucking needed and would have helped carry the weight.
It would have helped like establish Supreme Kai's character as well. It would have done so much good for so many aspects of this saga.
Yes.
To have it earlier.
I'm amazed it's even here, to be honest with you, though.
I'm amazed
they even addressed it. Yeah. And like animated the whole thing, too. It's not just a series of like, still images.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's a little confusing because we go back in time and the Supreme Kai that we know, Kaibito, is acting as East Kai
at the time.
All of these generations ago. Which means that they're not born into the position. It's like an army where they can rank up and be promoted, which means that they're at all times, there's like a race of beings somewhere in the universe that can become Kais or start out as Kais and like get promoted to North Kai and South. Like what the fuck? I don't understand. Like where did King Kai that we know come from then?
That's the,
yeah.
And I really thought they were going to maybe go into that. And there's so many interesting ideas that could stem from this because it could mean that the only reason that the Kais that exist now got the job.
Even more than that, like, are they just a race of people that just unlocked their power and potential and gained influence over the galaxy to the point where they became protectors of some kind? Like, or are they supernatural, literal gods that are put, like, what's the deal? Are they like Mount Olympus or are they just humans that kind of unlocked their ultimate potential, you know?
You know that there's some goodness in this. There's a lot of kernels of goodness because we get to sit here and ponder and think about alternative ideas and how all of this
You
happens.
don't need to answer every question.
No.
I'm a little mad about the rankings because it doesn't make sense with what we've seen
that's
before.
Fucking stupid.
But Supreme Kai used to be East Kai. That's the important thing.
What they're introducing are interesting ideas because they're helping to world build. They're exploring their explanations for things.
They're not wasting their time with an episode. It's weird.
Yes.
It's weird and there's lots of questions, but they're not wasting time, which is what the last 3 episodes have been.
Because of this whole backstory explanation, this is my number 1 episode for the past like 15 episodes.
Yeah.
And it speaks less to how good this one is and more to how awful the other ones are. But still, This is probably my favorite one for the past 15 or so episodes we've had. So
we get to see Bibbidi controlling Boo.
I didn't think they were going to do all this, but yeah.
I didn't think so either. Is this the first time we've seen Bibbidi?
It is. Well, we've seen like a shadow in the past, but that was before Toriyama knew who the fuck he was.
There's an actual like character design, and it's really good, actually.
Yeah.
I like it. I like a lot of, like, everything about this flashback is really good.
Yes.
There's some logical inconsistencies, but the art is amazing all the way through. You can tell that, like, they had a good time designing these characters.
Yeah. Oh my God. So the West Kai is the first one to die to.
Yeah. None of these Kais are who we've seen before, except for Supreme Kai's East Kai. This is like generations ago. And so even though the titles we've used before, they refer to other characters in the past.
They have
These are
Kai hair.
Totally different.
But they're like humans.
They're like the same kind of uniforms and stuff, but they are totally different characters.
Yes. Yeah. So West Kai ends up dying. The only female fighter that we've ever seen in this show using energy and being on a high level, and she just fucking dies immediately.
She's the first to go,
She's the first to fucking go, right? She dies, and then North Kai also dies. Apparently, all of the Supreme Kais have dope fucking hair because they're all rad. I don't know what happened to our Kais.
At this point, he talks about South Kai, but he says South Supreme Kai, which draws too many questions. Like, I'm just going to call that a continuity error, honestly, because it doesn't make fucking sense at all.
These are so messy.
So South Kai, you actually get to see the battle between him and Kid Buu, and it's pretty good. He rips his arms off and stuff.
Yeah.
South Kai ends up getting absorbed by Kid Buu, which means that Supreme Kai knew about the absorption technique this whole time, and I feel like he should have mentioned it at some point before our heroes were taken by surprise.
You know what I'm
going to
say. You know what I'm going to say, Spencer.
It didn't exist.
It didn't exist.
It didn't exist before this point.
He couldn't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, all this flashback really does is help establish that if you took all of this at face value, right? He's a shit Supreme Kai. He's really bad. He's a shit protector.
Bad. If you premiered this episode in the Babidi or the Majin Saga when Vegeta turns evil before he dies, you could do some cool stuff with making Supreme Kai a more tragic hero.
Yes.
Like he has answers and he knows knowledge, but there's just like some kind of barrier or like miscommunication or something that prevents him from saying the right thing at the right time. And so he just keeps failing over and over.
Yeah. And he's afraid to fight Majin Buu because he sees his old master in him now, because there's so much there that there's
so much you could do.
I really wish they had put this, and that's what it needed too. That's what this episode is. What this it would have thing needed.
Like, seriously, there's not much, just a few character lines, a flashback here and there. And you could have a really strong, like that Majin Saga could have been incredibly strong.
Yeah.
And led into a Buu saga that was supported by logic and continuity.
And history.
Instead of just pulling all of this stuff out of your ass.
It's almost a shame that it's here, because it's so weird to know how good it could have been with stuff that already exists in this. Like, we're not even making shit up necessarily. This is all here. It's just so late.
You're making up rules too late because you've already broken them. Like this doesn't matter. None of this matters because none of it is affected by what comes after. So like, why establish the rules at all? It's too late. You know what it's like for me? It feels like a little kid that's lying. he stole, he stole $50 from his mom. And then like a year later, the mom finds out and he's like, no, I had to steal it because I was trying to help these kids and they were lost. Like, and it just like all of this explanation that doesn't matter because it's just too long.
Yeah,
it feels like they're trying to cover up for, I don't know. I'm not as good as analogies as you are.
I'm not this time. I can't come up with one because I've never experienced this before and I don't know how to explain it. Something could have been fucking awesome if it had come up so much earlier. Like exactly what you needed happens it's like your fucking tire blows out. Okay. And then you go to get new tires and they work really well no, they're shitty tires, but they work, they get you places. And then I don't know how to describe what this is. It's perfectly Dragon Ball Z because it's such a fuck up that it's so good that it makes the fuck up hard to grasp. It's weird. Okay. So South Kai is the best fighter, but gets absorbed, and that changes Kid Buu into Super Buu. So
no, not quite. It's the big bulky.
Super Buu. I wish they would have just gone to Super Buu,
muscly. Yeah.
And then he's coming after our Supreme Kai, who was at the time East Kai. And in this fight, the then Supreme Kai, who was kind of a
Grand.
No, Supreme.
No, Grand.
They say Grand. I think they meant Supreme. This is another case of them being lazy with the English. Grand Kai is the old man.
I know. In this flashback, they've established that like you rise through the ranks. So did our 80s rock loving Grand Kai come up through the ranks, or has he always been Grand Kai and it was just a flub of dialogue? And this guy is actually Supreme Kai.
Here's my assumption of how it works, right? There's the Northwest, East, South Kais. And then there's Grand Kai.
Yeah.
And then above them is Supreme Kai. And the reason I assume that is because they had a graph in the show showing that like 50 episodes ago.
You know what would have been awesome?
They literally showed us a
They
graph.
should have had a young 80s rock loving Grand Kai as one of the North, East, West, South to kind of tie in the continuity and the promotion through the ranks.
And they only go through the North, South, East, West Kais in this flashback. They don't go to Supreme Kai. They just talk about Grand Kai. So I assumed that Grand Kai, they meant Supreme Kai and there was no Grand Kai. Like I'm trying to figure out what the fuck they're trying to say.
Right. Cause then this, okay. So then this Grand Kai dies, surprise. And the East Kai rises to the rank of Grand Kai. Meanwhile, the future Grand Kai that loves 80s rock music is promoted to like East Kai or some shit. And then when the Grand Kai that will become Supreme Kai becomes Supreme Kai, the East Kai that loves 80s rock music is promoted to Grand Kai. Is that the logic that we're going with?
I don't fucking know anymore. I really don't. And I don't care because we get to see how Majin Buu turns into Fat Buu, which is the first form he was in. It's the big jolly one. And it's by absorbing that guy, whichever guy it is. And
right. And there's like a kernel of good. This is another participation
This is
trophy.
the shiniest participation ribbon they get.
It's pretty good, but it fails because we've never had a case where, and this is the point the show makes, is that absorbing that Grand Kai made Fat Buu, and Fat Buu is less powerful than Kid Buu. So by reverting Buu back to the original Kid Buu form, he skyrockets in power. That doesn't make fucking sense because we've never seen it work that way before. Every time, it's usually like a 1 + 3 = 4, right? And 4 is the new villain after they've absorbed a 3 or a 1 or whatever. Even if it's a 1 + 0.00005, the new result is 1.00005. It's never 1 + 1 = -1. Like it never depowers, it always adds to.
Yeah, and wouldn't this have happened in the past when Buu absorbed Gohan or Gotenks or Piccolo or any?
That's the kind of thing you could make an argument for any of the Z Warriors always increasing Buu's power. What I think they should have done, and I've been thinking about this since I watched this stupid episode yesterday, they should have had a moment, it wouldn't have changed the story at all, where right after the Gotenks fight or something like that, Buu absorbs Hercule. Piccolo or whoever is alive at the time notices, and you could have a fun scene where Buu gets the fun Hercule mustache or the belt or the cape or something, and somebody notices the consents key that he is less powerful, that he's absorbed Hercule and he's less powerful as a result. And they have a little fight and Boo's like, oh shit, I'm less powerful now. And he spits Hercule out.
Okay.
And that would establish two things. One, that you can become less powerful by absorption. And two, that whoever gets absorbed is actually still alive inside of Buu.
All right.
And then you can fix the plot holes that we've been talking about this whole time.
You can fix a lot of the problems, except for the problem where Buu constantly absorbs regular human beings by eating them, and therefore...
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Oh, he eats them, I guess. Yeah, which
they're chocolate. That's not absorption. It's different
between the eating and okay. No, you're right. Yeah, that would help a lot. That would help a shitload. But they don't do that, and so they just.
But they don't fucking do that.
He's less powerful because that Grand Kai was so good and jolly that Buu ended up taking on those characteristics as a result, and so now
you're discounting the fact that he was a powerful warrior, and you're usurping the power level with the personality qualities.
Right, those are two very different things. Personality qualities and power level are not the same fucking thing, and so I want it to go away. I want it to stop. I want this to make sense again. And I know we've only got 14 episodes left. And so
It's coming down to the wire, yeah.
At this point, thinking about it makes me unhappy.
Well, they introduced this flashback with just answers a lot of questions, but just asks so many more.
Yeah, and
like they gave you the ability to ask these questions by introducing this.
It
flashback.
gave me what I wanted 30 or 40 episodes too late, so now I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want it anymore. Like it's so wanted and needed to make things work.
This episode is the worst offender for me because it's the best episode of the 5, but it asks way too many questions. For instance, why the fuck aren't the East Southwest Kais fighting Boo right now?
Yeah.
The ones that we have. Like if they're protectors of the universe and that's their job and that's what they did last time Boo showed up, where are the Kais that we know now? Why aren't they showing off their strength? Why are they leaving it to the fucking humans?
It would open up
or Saiyans or whatever.
It would open up the they weren't qualified for the job in the first place thing that they could have explored. That
but they didn't even address it.
Would have made things so interesting because we've all looked up.
Oh man,
North Kai, but
this powerful like god race that controls the universe and protects everything is basically dethroned.
Yeah,
in a sense,
by saving the universe. They did their job and saved the universe, but as a result, they're all dead except one guy now.
Yeah, well, and the ones that came in to take their place are way less powerful and less qualified. So they only have like the title and not the power to back it up.
Time
that their previous generations
we looked at King Kai like he's this godlike figure who's going to train our basic ass low tier human level heroes. He is, but on the scale of intergalactic power, they're dog shit. Like that would have been really interesting.
That would have been really cool. Like a nice little twist.
But you know what? Instead, I have to ask, why did Earthworm Boo exist? What was Earthworm? So we got the explanation as to the Super Boo who is also buff. And we got an explanation as to who Kid Boo is. So when Fat Boo expels Earthworm Boo, it's because he's getting rid of all the evil. So if he's getting rid of all the evil, why wouldn't that look more like Kid Boo? Why would it be Earthworm Boo? What? No. Bad Dragon Ball Z. Bad.
Like realistically, after they removed Boo from inside of Boo, he should have transformed back into the Earthworm form instead of like going to this weird ass.
We've already seen what happened.
Kid Boo form.
We've already seen how this works, and that's what he should have turned into and then been very killable. But we need to have a final boss battle. So.
The other problem that I have is like you could have had, instead of Good Boo being in the cocoon when they were inside of him, where are the Kais? You've established this logic of like, after I absorb someone, they're still alive.
That same thing too.
They're just in these pods. So why didn't Goku and Vegeta be like, oh, who are these fuckers? Like, I guess we cut them free. And that's why Boo freaks the fuck out.
And goes back to regular. That would have been, but they don't. They just, there's an argument.
That would have made sense.
They couldn't find them or they just didn't see them in there. But also,
right. But if
that.
But it doesn't make sense because if he does revert to Kid Boo, then they have been removed. Right. Like that's the logic you have to follow.
It is, which I don't, there's no logic. We can't follow it because it ends up going to a dead end constantly. Dragon Ball Z is a logic line that only ends in dead ends. And you have to basically jump to the next street to just keep going. It's something I actually like here happens where Kid Boo does what Boo should have done from the very fucking beginning. Yeah. And with no effort whatsoever, just kind of like drops a planet killing ball. And it looks like a regular energy blast, but our heroes react to it like, holy fuck, it's the strongest blast ever. And Vegeta quickly deflects the blast.
It's cool that it was Vegeta that did it and not Goku. I did like
and Goku says that would have totally destroyed the planet. And like at this point, I'm desensitized to the whole, they're going to kill the planet. Oh, they're going to kill the planet. Because it gets brought up so much. And then Kid Boo looks over at Vegeta and with the maniacal, chaotic laughter that Boo always should have had from the beginning, he creates the biggest of all planet kill balls. And he actually does it. He kills the whole fucking planet. Like his plan is because he can regenerate and he's pure chaos and doesn't give a fuck. He's just going to blow up the whole thing.
Yep. And then it's going to blow him up too, but then he'll just regenerate.
And that's awesome. Participation.
That's really cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So as Planet Kill Ball comes after our heroes, they have to quickly try and save everyone they got out of Boo's head.
This scene did not work I wanted it to work. And it just didn't quite
work
work
for me because I'm like, oh, it's final. The plot is finally moving forward.
Well, no, I liked that. It's just Goku's like, go get the kids, and then Vegeta doesn't. And there's not really an explanation. Like, I love the idea that this is happening so fast that they just have to grab whoever they can and get off the planet because it's going to explode. Our heroes fail. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's not established that they ran out of time. Goku tells Vegeta to go get the kids, and then he just doesn't. He tags along with Goku. They find Hercule Dende and the dog, grab them. They try to instant transmission. Like 2 minutes before, Elder Kai yells at Kaibito, which I thought was really clever.
Yes.
Go give your earrings to Vegeta and Goku.
Mm-hmm.
Go back down to Earth and give your earrings to them. Thought that was really clever. Kaibito gets there, but too late. Runs right into Goku, Vegeta, and the rest. And they all instant transmission, or whatever the Kais can do, back to the realm of the Kais. They leave behind Gohan, Piccolo, Trunks, whatever. And the Earth explodes. They all die. Other problem I have with this, why the hell did you spend like 3 or 4 episodes about getting the kids back if you're just going to kill them anyway? Why did that matter at all?
This one works in a removed from all the logic of the show in a purely emotional level, because they just saved them and now they lost them. Like, everything they put into getting them out was for nothing.
I was talking kind of like as a bigger picture story wise, which I probably shouldn't be doing.
I can't anymore
because I
know you want to.
I do think the moment works,
but
I think the moment works. It's kind of like, oh shit.
Yes.
It has that emotional punch, which is nice. I would have loved if there was one shot of Vegeta going to get him and there was like energy blasts in the way or rocks or something, and he couldn't get to them. Like he tries to grabs them and drops them,
but they are being chased by a blast so fucking powerful it would destroy 100 Earths, says Goku.
I know, but it doesn't. There's just a missing. I don't know. I feel like there's a missing shot.
I think it's either a missing, they're missing a shot to tie it all together, or, and here's what I think it is. The English writers got really fucking lazy at this time. And because Goku didn't tell Vegeta in Japanese to go get the others. It was just silence, basically, to make the moment work, because they know in Japanese how to do that better than in English right now.
Yeah.
I really think at the end of the show, they were just like giving up.
We got to get through this.
Like there was either they hired somebody new, or they had a turn of design where they had to fill space. They had to fill time with words and just like didn't pay attention. We've both noticed the English writing has become markedly worse. And it's detracting from the show. Whereas the past 5 episodes, that's what was carrying the show for us. Here, it's not, because they constantly go against what's actually fucking happening in the show. Whatever. Okay, so they get to the planet of the Kais. They finally get to the planet of the Kais. We have cuts to the characters all across the DBZ universe as the planet Kill Ball blows up the Earth. Finally.
I hated and also kind of loved that nobody they cut away to understood what the hell was happening. Like, none of the main characters are aware of what's going on.
It was
on
to
Earth.
Try and add weight, but because none of them knew what the fuck was happening, I didn't really feel it.
Yeah. There's like a shot of like Krillin and Yamcha fighting in the background, and North Kai's just kind of like freaking out in the foreground. I thought that was pretty effective, but also, why didn't North Kai just say like, hey, stop fucking around and come watch this.
Yeah.
This is your planet.
Come touch my back.
You know,
come give me back,
because that's what he did in all the other sagas. But anyway,
yep. And then all the Chi-Chi, Videl, and well, it's like, why does it matter? That's what I thought in that moment. They're already dead. Why would it fucking matter? You've already moved out of the house and you're never going back. Who gives a fuck when they demolish it?
That's true.
I don't know, because I just don't have any nostalgia for this planet of Earth. And I was just happy to see it gone, because they've talked about killing Earth so many times. And I'm like, just do it, bitch. Just do it. Just do it. Just fucking kill the planet then.
And then there's a cool scene where they all end up at the realm of the Kais, and like everybody's confused. Goku, Vegeta, like everybody's kind of like, what's going on? Hercule's like, oh, did I die?
Yeah.
That makes, I died, didn't I? Vegeta like immediately calls Goku out for rescuing Dende and Hercule versus his actual son. Like it's a great moment. There's confusion and drama and emotions are running high, and then the episode ends, and it's kind of a good ending, which is a shame, because in episode 278 the Japanese title is Boo's Assault. A conclusion in the Kaioshin realm. And the American title is True Saiyans Fight Alone. Fuck you.
My episode title, I again didn't write one. I'm going to start doing that for the last episode because did it at the beginning of the series. Might as well curve it back to doing what I was at the beginning at the very end. So my episode title is, I guess if we break all of our rules, we don't have to follow any. Because the most egregious DBZ rule break that I think has ever existed happens at the end of this episode.
This episode opens with a total redo of the last 2 minutes, the last episode with Vegeta and Goku arriving on the planet of the Kais. I hate the redo. I usually do hate the redo, but this is like, for one moment, I felt this breath of fresh air at the end of the last episode where there was like actual stakes. Vegeta was like, what the hell do you think you're doing? Like rescuing these people versus the Saiyans, our sons and all that stuff. Like that was interesting. I wanted to see Goku's rebuttal. I loved Hercule's like, oh, fuck, I'm dead. But there was like a sense of drama. And then this redo, it just plays it all for like comedy. The pacing's all over the place. Like it feels really weird. I didn't like this redo at all.
I enjoyed the idea, another participation ribbon of Dende trying to explain the Kais to Hercule.
Hercule has a couple good lines here. Just sucks that they're presented in the way that they are. He says like, a Kai, what's that? Some sort of purple leprechaun, which I did like.
His best line is, if they're so great and powerful, how come they didn't stop Majin Buu? And that was like,
I wanted more drama. Like, the last human in existence should be mad at the all-powerful universal beings that like should do their fucking job. Like, and Goku doesn't respond to Vegeta's like, why didn't you rescue our sons? Like, there's no resolution there. There's no like, there
becomes a joke.
They have these like these emotional moments that could have excellent payoff, and they just don't because they can't. They're not good enough writers.
No, they're not. He is not a good enough writer for that. And this is your Empire Strikes Back ending was the last episode.
Yes, they lose. Earth is destroyed. Like they have Goku and Vegeta and like fucking Hercule and like what the hell? Like you rescued C-3PO and R2-D2? What are you doing?
Exactly. And you know what? They had the Pyrrhic victory ending in the Saiyan saga where all of their friends are dead and they go and pick them up and they have that very somber moment. That's what this needed. And it didn't linger on it. They didn't do that. They instead choose to start breaking the only rules that remain. The fact that none of them remember the Namekian Dragon Balls are a thing until this moment is...
No, I fucking hate all of this.
It makes me want to vomit.
Yeah, I literally hate all of this. There's some interesting stuff with Hercule, I guess. It's like over the top comedy.
That I did
stuff.
Like because it's more Hercule.
It is, it's more Hercule. More Hercule is always good.
Only
but like
comedy that kind of worked in this whole comedic episode.
His voice actor is just firing on all cylinders. It's good.
I thought the same thing. I was like, shit, I wish he had gotten back to us when we reached out to him because goddamn, he's good. He's really good. But then
so Kid Buu reforms, and I just don't know why they didn't just instant transmission back and delete the pieces of Buu after Earth was destroyed, but they fucking
They can't breathe in space until they can.
Yeah, you're right. They can't breathe in space at this point. They can't wish them back because the Dragon Balls are also gone. So, but also Vegeta's dead. I mean, I get wanting his son to have a life on Earth, but like he kind of go find your son. He's dead now. You're dead now.
Go
like
hang out.
You go hang out.
Yeah.
Your wife's dead too. Like go be a family.
Okay. Vegeta turns into the straight man comic relief character in these couple of episodes.
Yeah.
And
he also like has this weird streak of good.
Yes.
Like he about faces, he instantly turns 100% good guy.
Which I guess he wasn't necessarily full bad guy until he was Majin, but we never got to explore any kind of good guy Vegeta before because it was just like, oh, Goku's back tournament, now I'm evil.
For me, it's too fast. I really wish that they used the opportunity of Goku and Vegeta being stuck together for like 5 episodes when they were inside Buu to like have character moments where Goku would explain his reasoning and why he wants to protect Earth and the Earthlings and all this stuff. Vegeta has a tie to Bulma and Trunks, but like Earthlings at large and just the bigger picture of being a hero. I think there could have been some really good back and forth where Vegeta almost lets down some of his Saiyan pride.
Instead,
for the sake of
they had to have really stupid, like great galaxy back and forth.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like it was just wasted time. Like you could have done so much.
Could have
with those moments.
Very much could have.
Kid Buu reforms and he learns instant transmission somehow. Who knows?
I don't know. I guess
matter.
it was somewhat established that Boo picks up other people's moves really fast.
No, well,
Like
I mean, yeah, but like
ago,
they were running from the blast when they did instant transmission, and they didn't even do instant transmission because Supreme Kai rescued them.
Yeah.
So there is a cool montage of Boo just teleporting around the universe,
Just
destroying
blowing up
planets for
planets.
no reason.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like that's the chaotic villain that I want.
Yeah, right.
No question.
But it's far too late. It's far too late now.
It's far too late. On the Chiron, they're like, he's a killing machine. Just like fucking all the rest of Boo. Why?
Come on.
That's what we've been dealing with this whole time. So Dende remembers that he has on his home planet, on the planet where he's from, they have Dragon Balls too.
They are the reason Dragon Balls exist. Is Namekians. It's a thing that he should always have in his The Namekian Dragon Balls are the whole reason that anyone is alive right now. They just conveniently choose to let the characters be fucking idiots. For the sake of I don't know. For the sake of I
hate this for a few reasons. One, again, I said it last episode. They've never brought up the Dragon Balls when it's just been Dende and Hercule, and they fucking should have.
Yes.
Because it's valid. It's a valid thing. And it proves it because they bring up the Dragon Balls here in the Kai realm. They had their chance. Okay, so Namek has Dragon Balls. Cool. Sure. Yeah, get out of jail free card. We had this cool moment where Earth was destroyed and we felt real stakes for 1 second. Let's go ahead and take that away because this show is Dragon Ball Z and you can't feel anything for too long.
Unless it's totally unintentional and accidental.
Yeah, in which case it's the greatest show ever. So they need it, but they're the big problem, the big obstacle that they have to overcome is they need a fucking spaceship to get to Namek.
Oh
my God. They were just teleported from Earth to the realm of the Kais with no spaceship or spacesuit or whatever, but they can't get to Namek.
Oh
shit, they need a spaceship. I guess that Dragon Ball get out of jail free card that we just mentioned is just totally in the trash now. Whoops. Forgot that 5 seconds ago, Kaibito was the one that teleported us across the galaxy with no problems, and he volunteers
I can do it.
to go to Namek.
That's right. I can
That's
go
so cool.
Wow.
All right. So we got the Dragon Balls then. No, actually, because Elder Kai gets mad for no fucking reason and says, you can't do that. This whole plan that you've spent like 2 minutes writing that you could just not and kind of make like a fun character drama that's interesting and has stakes is also in the trash for no reason because the writers decided to make Elder Kai mad about saving the universe in the only way that's possible at this point.
And then he almost starts dumping some lore about how the Namekians were given the ability to have Dragon Balls by the Kais, and they had specific instructions to only ever use it on Namek and never for anyone else.
Well,
they almost explain stuff.
I agree. He almost explains stuff, and then it goes off the rails with Goku objectifying Bulma again. But before we get to the sexual harassment, there is a moment where my brain went, wait, but can't they just use the Namekian Dragon Balls on Namek and wish for whatever the hell they want? Why do they have to bring the Dragon Balls here? That doesn't make sense. Wouldn't it have been fun if they were like, shit, okay, Namekian Dragon Balls, that's our only shot. We got to go to Namek and get him. The biggest power levels in the universe, the Kais, Goku, and Vegeta, go to Namek and surprise Kid Buu detects them and destroys Namek. Fuck. We not only failed in our plan, but we also made things worse by killing a bunch of innocents by gallivanting across the universe. That would have been fun. But they don't do that. Vegeta finds out that Goku's been pimping out his wife and gets understandably mad. It's a funny joke, but oddly misplaced. Kid Buu suicide bombs the entire universe. Basically. And I actually do like that.
Yeah, that part's fun. And then we have this cut to Grand Kai's planet where Yamcha and Krillin and the other Kais are training. And then we decide to break one of the other rules that has still existed, which is that of death. When Boo fucking appears in Otherworld.
Yeah, he can just cross dimensional lines.
Just is
like,
there now.
What the hell? I know that Goku did it in the Cell Saga, okay? But he's been there, at least.
I really wasn't expecting him to show up. So it was almost, I won't even say almost, it did hit me right. It worked to where I was like, oh, fuck, he's in Otherworld. That's probably bad, right? And then Goku later on explains, oh, he can't be in Otherworld. If he kills them again, they're erased from existence forever.
If they die in the game, they die in real life. Like you get 2 lives in Dragon Ball Z, but that's it.
That's
no more.
This is the one that is the biggest for me. The biggest fuck you, because this has never been a fucking thing until they decided to try and generate stakes to make it feel like it's more intense because they're already breaking all the rules. So there's no fucking rules to build stakes off of. So we might as well create new fucking rules. Like this is the worst writing that I've had to endure for Dragon Ball Z. is their decision to, once you die again in Otherworld, you're gone forever. If they ever brought it up in the past, someone correct me, and I will be happy to not be as outraged.
I really don't think,
but
I'm not a fan of Otherworld as it is, because I feel like it does delete the stakes of having a life on Earth. But this is just next level, dude. You get 2 lives, but then if the story needs to, there's just going to be an Otherworld. Like, you can see
you can.
on the writing on the wall. You can see it. That's what they would do. Oh, it's so frustrating.
Yes. Yeah. So my notes become, what the fuck did you just say, Goku? What did you fucking say? What did you just, when was that a fucking thing? Since when has that ever been a thing, Goku? And then I stopped typing notes.
Yeah.
So I don't remember what happens.
It's not that much longer. Krillin is the only one that asks, he's not dead. How did he get there? They go through all this like,
that's right. There's a whole rigmarole where they like, oh, are you here to train? And Pycon pats him on the head. He's like, oh, we got a live one. He's got no halo.
So basically, Elder Kai's like, fuck, the rules of the universe are broken. Kid Buu is in Otherworld. Not only is the universe in danger, but like all of existence is in danger forever. Fuse Goku and Vegeta. Put on the Potara earrings, fuse, and go defeat the bad guy.
The stakes have never been higher, and you have a way to win.
Yeah. And Goku and Vegeta just fucking decide that they're Saiyans, and their Saiyan pride means they got to fight alone, and they're not going to fuse. And what's their alternative plan? What's their plan B? Elder Kai says after he rightfully yells at Goku. Goku says, don't worry, it'll all work out somehow. Fuck you. Fuck you.
At this point, I actually believe Goku.
Of course you believe Goku, because he's looking at the script. He doesn't know he's looking at the script, but he's fucking Goku, and Goku never dies, and Goku always saves the day, and there's no stakes anymore because Goku will always find a way to win.
So at this point, I'm treating it like a Dragon Ball movie where I know at the end Goku wins because they're all non-canon, and Goku can't die in the movie. So that's what I'm treating the show like now, is that it's non-canon. That the plot armor will allow them to win the day because who fucking cares now?
Yeah.
This arc is the worst one of the show. It is hands down the most egregiously, fundamentally broken from a story writing perspective thing that I've ever experienced. No. Yes.
I won't say it's the worst thing that I've ever seen, but it is probably the worst thing that I've seen after getting so invested. Like, this is 250 episodes.
That's a good way to put it.
And we had so much emotional investment, and like,
that's better than what I said.
There was so much fun and interesting character stuff. Like,
yeah.
It's a good show. And it's amazing at how quickly, within 15 episodes, you can just tank all the goodwill that you've mustered over 250 episodes.
We fucking have talked about this earlier today, where you point at where the writer disappears and somebody else has to fill in the shoes. The ending of Lost, where the writer's strike happened and they had to make shit up. The ending of Game of Thrones. That's what this feels like, but it's the same fucking dude calling the shots, which is crazy. It's crazy that that's how this goes down. Like, it's Dragon Ball Z, everybody. It's Dragon Ball fucking Z.
Just to finish up the episode, there's a battle on the Otherworld Grand Kai planet.
Oh, that's right. There's more.
Nobody tells anybody on that planet that Kid Buu is a threat. So there's like a really elongated time where they're like, ooh, who are you? What are you doing here? When Kid Buu, the ultimate evil in the whole universe, is standing right in front of him. So it doesn't tell anybody. And there's some stuff with Pycon shows up and gets a good blast in. Krillin does some stuff with the Destructo Disc, but it doesn't matter because it's Buu.
Krillin gets, if I remember right, beat the fuck up. Like the most extended Buu beats on somebody thing is Krillin gets beat up.
It's pretty, it sucks that it's Krillin.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, whatever.
It's Dragon Ball Z. It has to be Krillin, right? He interacted with the big bad guy, so he has to be punished for being Krillin.
Vegeta and Goku decide to raise their power on the Kai realm in order to attract Buu, which they could have easily done with fusion, but they don't. Buu prepares to blast the Grand Kai's planet with another giant ball of energy, but then detects the rising power of Vegeta and Goku and decides to just go over there. But the big ball of energy doesn't go anywhere. Like, I think it would have been way better if they had Yeah, he makes it go away, I guess.
I don't know.
You don't see.
He should have blown
it
it
doesn't
up.
matter.
He should have. They have already broken all the rules. Who fucking
I know.
cares?
He should have blown it up. Yeah. And then Kid Buu gets to the Kai realm, and now it's time for the finale. The good news is, John, this is the thing.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I've mathed it all out.
All right.
I'm ready to reveal the surprise.
Oh, no. Oh, is it about episode 69?
With what we want to do with the last saga and review and like the last episodes we have planned, and discounting all the bonus episodes that we've done in the past, if you count just the episodes that we review the actual show, if we do 8 episodes next time, which will take us to the end of the Kid Buu saga and then into that block of 5 episodes at the very end where Eric was going to watch with us.
Okay, I'm down.
So if we have an episode of 8 episodes in our podcast, we'll do all the episodes that I want to do, and we'll end officially at episode 69.
All right, I'm down. I'm so ready for this.
It should be fun. Or will it be? Who knows? It could be a fucking goddamn disaster like the rest of this has been, but we'll find out next time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
All right.
So disgusting.
Thanks for listening to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. He might hate the show. We're going to cut out what I just said. He might hate the show.
Good. That's just for me.
But he loves that you're listening. Do you have any feedback for us? You can, you know where. Mail at ehdbz.com or text/voicemail at 385-DARE1OX. This is a Rocktopus Network production. We've got other stuff, Tales of Nowhere. A bunch of people are actually kind of somewhat interested in Tales of Nowhere at this point. We've heard from the Discord, which, speaking of the Discord, join our Discord. It's starting to pop. It's starting to pop. People are actually talking a lot.
I just laughed because I mentioned this in the mid-roll. But you don't know that yet.
Oh, I don't know that at all.
Discord.io/EricHatesDBZ.
What else do we have? I make the music. It's burn7.newgrounds.com. I'm going to start pushing the Newgrounds one. I noticed some people went to my Newgrounds. So I was like, all right, I'll do it again.
Deserved.
It's mostly just metal stuff. I sing on there occasionally if you want to hear me sing, which nobody does, but you can. What else?
We also want to say thank you to all of our patrons for supporting this podcast and making this possible. I don't know if I would have had the stomach to get through everything that we've done so far if it wasn't for you and knowing that you guys are there for us. If you want to check out our Patreon page is patreon.com/ehdbz. A lot of cool extras and stuff. We're adding more all the time. And we want to say thank you to all of the patrons in no particular order. They are Mr. Antiquity, 37, Nick Archer, MJ Snyder, Tinny, Tiny, I'm not sure, Josh West, Nathan Rodkey, The Fish, Eric White, Lori, Felix Rodriguez, Amanda Giles.
And this list is getting so long we have to break it up so that both of us do it. So also thank you to Hearst Ran Out of Gas, Andrew Winden, Artex the Creator, Dan Schob, Tyler Hyatt, Croy Keener, Ayoku and Dad, Oh Noe Zoe, CJ Collins, Tom Prochnicki, Cole Dwick, Erwin. I don't know why I said that one so crazy. Andrew Lewis. And actually, that's the end of the list. And Andrew Lewis. You get it twice, Andrew. Thank you so very much. Seriously, for supporting this. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say. We
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're going to have to come up with something that's worthy of your attention because we're almost done with Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, figuratively and literally.
Oh,
it feels like this show is dragging its balls on me. Does that work?
It's so perfect. It encapsulates how I feel about this episode. It's so perfect.